Okay, welcome, Rodge. Thank you very much for your valuable time as a writer. The first question: what compels you as a writer?
Fear of going back to doing lots of jobs that I really hated doing, that I did for ages and ages, and also the hope that if I keep working hard for many years to come, I might write a great book one day. That's what I want to do eventually. I see all of the things that I'm doing now as a step towards one great book someday.
And in terms of the books that you've written so far, what has given you most satisfaction during the process of writing?
The most satisfying bit is always shortly before the end on each project, because then most of the hard work is done and you're really just making it slightly more beautiful or slightly more terse or slightly, it's those tiny little bits that I really enjoy doing right at the end, when I know that I'm close to what I wanted to achieve and that I can enjoy.
So far you've written 3 books.
Yay!
One of which has been out for quite a long time, and 2 of which are just about to come out. During the process of writing large works, what do you think your greatest weakness has been?
Lack of confidence at times during the process, and overconfidence in others. When it's going well, you think you're an absolute genius and you've totally got it sussed, and when it's going badly, you think that you're incapable of writing a sentence and that this was a terrible idea in the first place. And although I am joking, that is actually a very serious point, in that too much, when your feelings go wildly one way or wildly the other, you can't concentrate on what you're doing. And particularly, say, with Hope for Newborns, I was really confident of it at the beginning. I really thought I had the voice right, and I had half a book, and then I left it for a couple of weeks and went back to it and realised it had no heart in it at all, and that I could extract one sentence from page 29 and the title, and apart from that I had to start again. So a weakness is either overconfidence or underconfidence.
And in terms of Hope for Newborns, why do you think that happened? In terms of, do you think that's just part of the writing process, in terms of you need to kind of put in your time in the ring with your sparring partner before you kind of get to the nub of it, or?
I think that's possible, yes, and I may find that with other books anyway, but in this particular situation I think there was a real identifiable reason for it, which was I had no experience of a book coming out before, and when No Fireworks did, my first instinct was to react against what I'd done in the first book, and also react against the kind of feedback that I'd got from it. In that, with the first book, I thought I'd written something more political and more radical than was the way it was responded to, which was as a nice family drama. And so I then wanted to do something far more extreme. Only by responding in that way, and then expose myself to a whole bunch of other new things. And you should never ever create something because you're reacting against something else, which is something that now seems really very obvious, but I didn't realise at the time. I didn't even know I was doing it, but because the book had been received well, but as something that was kind of gentle and subtle, I then wanted to do something that was harsh and extreme, which just led to something really angry and directionless.
Yeah, and and from that point of view, do you think it's as a writer you kind of concentrate on your strengths and then make incremental kind of progress in your own writing, or do you think there is an instance where you can take a dramatic change in direction?
There are dangers in just repeating yourself, and whether concentrating on what you're good at means if that means just repeating yourself, then obviously that's useless. But, and I suppose if you are absolutely at the height of your powers, then yes, you can. If you're one of the truly great writer, you can just go, and now I will do this, and it's completely different. If you're starting out, as I am, I think the situation is a little bit different. What I felt really strongly after No Fireworks was there were elements I was very pleased with about the way that I could put a sentence together, and there were certain things that I was strong at, and aspects I was pleased with, like dialogue and characterization and dynamics between characters. But after reading from it a lot and going around and doing a lot of events, I realised that I hadn't thought about the reader very much, and that plot hadn't been hugely important to me. And what I then wanted to do with the second book, and what I hope I have done, is to keep those abstract elements of the rise and fall of a sentence and the way to subtly communicate ideas, but try and add to that a new skill, which is trying to think about the reader more, trying to drive people on in a story more. No Fireworks wasn't really about the story. So if this answers your question, I hope it does. I think if you're keeping aspects of skills that you've learned, then it's a good thing. If you're just going, oh right, I'm good at doing families set in such a place, doing such a thing, then you will repeat yourself.
In terms of what compels you as a writer, what was the driving kind of factor that made you want to become a writer? Encouragement. I'd always written, but I'd never believed that it was something that you could do with your life. I've said this many times, but I always thought that writers were like aliens from outer space, because you heard about them but you never saw them, and you never really had any proof, and you certainly didn't bump into one on the street. And it wasn't until Robert Allen Jameson, who was the creative writing fellow at Strathclyde when I was an undergraduate, and I was completely lost in my dissertation, and he saw a story of mine and just said, this is good, you should do more of that. And really that's all that I needed. I'm a great believer in apprenticeships, and I've had a lot of good teachers since. And it was really encouragement. I think that's all.